You know, as somebody with a history of loving arguably the worst seasons of Fortnite, having fun with the game no matter what, today I wanted to talk about it and react to a video by SypherPK, loved versus hated Fortnite Seasons. I thought, as somebody who has historically liked things like Primal, Wild, I perhaps might have an interesting take to this video. We're going to be talking about that in just a second. Before we do, though, I do want to say hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I'm your guy with many YouTube channels. Guys, let's watch this video together with SypherPK.
Fortnite has had more than 30 seasons. Some of them have been loved, and some of them have been hated.
Yeah, they're already talking about Wrecked Season X. I loved all of those seasons, eh?
For very good reasons. Today I'm going over Fortnite's 7 most loved and 7 most hated seasons.
Okay. I actually didn't just think, I didn't see the graphic there. If I had to ballpark it, okay, this top 7 most loved, I'm going to guess what they were, okay? Most loved have to be the OG days, Chapter 2 Season 2, Chapter 2 Season 3, and Chapter 2 Season 4. Perhaps that can encompass it. Fortnite OG would be one of them. The most hated Fortnite seasons would absolutely be Wrecked, Wilds, Primal. I would guess Wrecked being the #1 worst season. Season X, which is the correct answer, to be honest with you. Chapter 1, Season 7, everybody hated back in the day, but all of a sudden everybody looks back on that going, oh my god, it was such a great time. Nostalgia this, nostalgia that. No, I accurately remember it. What else was hated? Chapter 2, Season 6, we already talked about that. Chapter 3, Season 3, Vibin', yeah, that was a bad one too. I'm interested to see what Sypher ended up coming up with, and if he actually pulled or if he just ballparked it. We'll see.
Out what went right or what went wrong. So we're starting with loved season #1, Chapter 1, Season 4.
Yeah, that was a loved season. Everybody loved that season. I actually can't wait to get back to that season.
I am very much looking forward to this season when it comes back in Fortnite OG later this year, because we didn't get to experience it last year. This is really when Fortnite started to get extremely popular and started peaking in terms of player count in early Chapter 1.
Yeah, and I would say that Season 3, I would imagine the numbers went even higher in Season 4, but I'm really excited to see if like they bring the Thanos mode back. I can't wait for Dusty Divot, the Hop Rocks, the map was better. Like, it was a huge step up from Season 3, but Season 3 is kind of what took over the world.
It also gave us our first live event, which we will be able to re-experience once it comes back.
That's crazy, and I'm hoping the leakers aren't wrong about that one, because I didn't get to watch the Rocket event, man. It'd be so cool to watch it.
We got a fantastic battle pass with the Omega skin. The guided missile launcher was also added, a very fun item.
Dude, and I'm so happy that's going to come back too, because now that they actually brought the Zapatron back, they are absolutely going to bring back the guided missile. They have no reason not to, man. I cannot wait to play with that again.
And they even added the first vehicle, the shopping cart. I also loved landing at Dusty Divot with the Hop Rocks, and the map felt a lot more complete compared to the earlier seasons.
Agreed.
But we can't forget, this was also Fortnite's first ever collaboration with Marvel.
I want them to bring that back in squads too. I always thought that was one of the biggest missed opportunities of all time, is not having the Thanos mode in squads. We had the Doctor Doom in squads. We had Godzilla in squads. Well, come on, Epic. We need Thanos mode in squads.
Thanos in the game one random morning. You could just grab the Infinity Gauntlet and turn it to him and drop a 30 bomb. This was really a time where you knew Fortnite was a special game because of everything that they were doing with the consistent updates and our first ever collab.
You know what I just thought of with that big ramp? Do you think that they're going to bring back Playground? That'd be cool if they did, but I don't know if they're ever going to do that.
And because of that, this is regarded as one of the top 3 seasons of all time. But now it's time to flip the script, because we're going to talk about a hated Fortnite season.
Wilds, that's Wilds.
Chapter 4, Season 3, Wilds. So this was basically Primal 2.0, which...
Man, I don't get it, man. I don't know what and obviously I'm in the minority here. Obviously you guys disagree with me about this. What was the big deal about the jungle? So what, it was in the middle of the map? Like, would everybody actually be switching up their tunes if it was in the corner of the map? I don't think so, to be honest with you, but I liked the jungle. I liked the trees. I liked the mud. I liked that you had to change up the gameplay. I liked that you had to worry about people hiding in trees. I liked hiding in trees. I liked the temples. I liked it all. Wilds, with the loot pool, the gameplay, the flow of Chapter 4, I thought it was great. The only thing that was lacking was the augments, man.
Which, yes, it's also on the list. They added a mud movement thing, but they ended up nerfing it. And the jungle biome was kind of frustrating to fight in. I actually did not like fighting in it.
Okay. He used a very specific example there, though. Not everybody's using the Optimus Prime cannon in trees. You can use regular guns and hit people. Look at all of the different elevations, the vines, the mud made for some fun gameplay. I've never understood the hate on wilds. I'm being completely honest.
A lot of the trees were getting in the way. There was weird plants. There was a lot of places where you couldn't build properly.
Yeah, but you can never build on trees. You never can build on trees. I'm a wilds enjoyer, guys.
There's a lot of bushes and people camping in the jungle. We also can't forget that Fortnite basically broke the streak of good kinetic weapons because Chapter 4 Season 1, we had the kinetic hammer, great mobility, great item in general. Chapter 4 Season 2, we had the kinetic blade and Mega City. But then with Chapter 4 Season 3, we got the kinetic boomerang, which absolutely no one used. Like,
I used it. I know this is where I'm going to hear about it in the comments, guys, but I actually didn't like the kinetic blade, and I did like the kinetic boomerang. Nothing was wrong with the kinetic blade, I just never used it. Just a weapon with a dash and a weak melee attack was never really appealing to me. But the boomerang was cool. You keep throwing it, it comes back to you. It was a little bit underrated. It wasn't super powerful, but I thought it was a little bit underrated.
this was so bad. It was such a huge step down. I thought for sure you'd be able to throw the boomerang and then like teleport to it or something.
Oh, that'd be cool.
It had no mobility and it was very terrible for damage. They also kept the augments, and the augments at this point were very, very watered down.
Yeah, I agree with that. The augments were absolute. I don't even want to say watered down. They were awful in that season. They were awful. I don't know what they did in Mega, and I don't know what they did in Wilds, but the augments sucked.
It was the wasp jar, which was one of the most useless items in Fortnite.
I disagree. People hiding in boxes, people hiding behind walls, people hiding in bushes. One of my favorite augments, I know I just dogged on the augments, but one that I always use was every time that you got a kill, you got a wasp jar. I loved using the wasps against people. It was like using fireflies. I loved wilds and their loot pool, man.
And the only thing people really remember about this season that was really cool was the addition of the mammoth pistol. It was one of the best weapons ever added to Fortnite. And if they didn't add the mammoth pistol, this season would be even more hated. Now, before I continue this list, I want to say some of you are going to say some of the seasons that were hated that you actually enjoyed them. And that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, everybody likes different things. I don't know why we live in a culture today where we can't understand that about each other. It's fine if you call me a clown for not liking wilds. Everybody likes different things. Like, it's just, I know that just kind of contradicts what I said, but my point being, I don't care if you guys disagree with me. Like, you can, yeah, obviously I'm weird for liking that, but everybody likes different things, man.
All right, I'm going based off of large community sentiment around seasons, and not every season is for everyone. Maybe there's a season that people loved that you didn't love. Maybe there's a season people hated that you actually enjoyed.
Isn't it sad that people have to mention this? Because it does need to be said. Like, Sypher needed to include this in the video. What a world we live in, man.
That's part of the beauty of Fortnite. So let's get to our second loved season, Chapter 1, Season 2. So we just got this, and it's very clear why this season is loved, because it is a huge upgrade from Chapter 1, Season 1, which...
The vibes carried this season. I didn't play this season, but it was clear that the vibes carried this season because this season is not nearly as good as the rest of Fortnite.
Pretty much was a barren wasteland. We got tilted towers, we got minis, we got impulse grenades, we got campfires. They're not added yet in the current OG, but we got a lot of different items. We even got our first battle pass.
Yeah, the loot pool was good, man, but it doesn't stack up, I don't think, to the rest of the seasons.
With a lot of iconic characters like Black Knight and Sparkle Specialists. This is also when they started adding emotes and dances to the game, and we got one of the most iconic LTMs ever, 50 versus 50. There's not much more to say about this season. Everyone who played it loves it, and a lot of people are enjoying it right now in Fortnite OG.
Yeah, and I think that as OG continues on, people are going to realize how much better OG got, or excuse me, Chapter 1 got as it progressed.
Now it's time for hated season number 2. Chapter 3, Season 4.
I loved that season. It wasn't nearly my favorite season, but this one was a big hate it or love it type season. I also think that people are overemphasizing like the importance of Fracture. They take the idea of Fracture and how bad that was and kind of like encapsulate that onto the entire season. But the problem was too, the chrome weapons weren't for everybody. The chrome mechanic wasn't for anybody, and people didn't like the chrome changes of the map. That's fine. It's just this one was a big hit or miss, and for me, it was a hit.
And this one pains me because my skin did come out during this season. So even though I have a lot of love towards this season and this time in Fortnite, the actual season itself was pretty mid. The chrome idea was kind of cool, but it ended up just being a little bit annoying.
Kind of. I love the idea that you could just splash a wall and then go through it. I still do believe, guys, and I've been saying this on the channel forever, the chrome splashes should be a staple in the Fortnite loot pool to never leave. It was such a good mechanic.
Of a mechanic, and there was a lot of glitches and bugs with it. And then even the chrome weapons was a really cool idea. You'd grab a weapon, and the more damage you did, it would upgrade by itself.
So I personally thought that they were good, and I really liked the chrome weapons as well. I don't know, but it's understandable for people not to like them. I know it was a 4-round burst, and the recoil was a tad weird on the AR, but I still thought it was good.
A cool idea if the guns didn't actually suck. The chrome assault rifle, the chrome shotguns, they were all really bad. And we can't forget how bad the live event was. This is one of the worst live events we've ever had.
Yeah, that one, there's no defending Fracture, man. That's why you guys need to check out Genesis Studios. They made a fantastic remake for the live event, guys. Go check that out.
It was just a cutscene. The entire island exploded, and then afterwards we did some UEFN quest simulator for 45 minutes. Everyone was
Also, what is this? Is this like clown music for Fractured?
so confused. Overall, it was a very mid-season, but because of how bad the live event was, people really hated it. But they didn't hate, loved season number 3.
Chapter 3, season 1.
3, season 1.
This, in my opinion, and we did an official tier list, I believe I ranked this number 3 for my all-time favorite seasons. Chapter 2, season 7, Chapter 1, season X, and then Chapter 3, season 1. This season was beyond perfect.
It was a great start to a Fortnite chapter. We went from the Chapter 2 map, which not a lot of people liked, to a very fresh, almost OG feeling Chapter 3 map. On top of that, we finally got the Spider-Man collab, and they added the Spider-Man Mythic Glove, which worked fantastically. You actually felt like you were playing a Spider-Man game.
Yeah, and they made the Spider-Man web shooters better than an actual Spider-Man game.
We're using it. They added a bunch of new features like the tents, the victory crowns, the MK7, our first first-person gun in Fortnite.
Yep.
And overall, this season was just very well received with a...
Dude, I can't believe people put the crap emoji for that one. This is one of the greatest seasons of all time. I'm not going to dive into everything that was special about it. I thought this was one of the most unanimously loved seasons ever, and it was near perfect.
Solid battle pass and a lot of people coming back to the game. And now we move on to hated season number 3. Chapter 5, season 3, Wrecked.
Yep.
So I appreciate that Fortnite took a big risk with changing the gameplay and focus.
It could have been so great if they would have just separated casual and competitive. Would have been so great. Unbelievable. The first 2 weeks of the season were some of the most fun I've ever had in the game, and then they nerfed everything, and then when it got to the point where the main mechanic of the season, the cars, were essentially useless, then I didn't like the season. So this one was always really weird to rank because I loved it, and then I don't want to say I hated it. There wasn't a Fortnite season that I hated. The Magneto update was cool, the Pirates of the Caribbean update were cool, but I didn't like it nearly as much. I loved the chaos.
Focusing on these new vehicles and items, but of course the risk did not pay off. We saw an all-time low player count shortly after the season launched. There was a lot of people complaining on stream, on social media. The cars were very powerful. The season for me was fun for the first 10 to 15 days, but after that, it got very repetitive, and I was kind of overwhelmed by the amount of overpowered items, from the explosive bow to the...
Dude, I thought it was great. The chaos that you got to experience in this season was it the most chaotic thing we've ever had to experience? Was it more chaotic than Season X? Probably, eh? Yeah, it must have been.
In its earliest form was absolutely ridiculous, and the Nitro Fists as well caused a lot of rage.
I love the fists.
It was just a very unbalanced season, and it had a decent battle pass, to be fair, and it was a good attempt at changing up the pace of Fortnite. They definitely changed the pace, but...
Yeah, but why can't they do that and then just separate casual and competitive? Why not? I will never understand that.
The worst. But I'm not going to blame Epic for trying things, because they very, very quickly pivoted back to what actually worked. So let's talk about something that actually worked. Chapter Fortnite OG. This was Fortnite OG when it first came back. They broke records. They had 6 million average players every single day.
Wow.
The announcement was super hype. It caught a lot of people off guard.
Yeah, and could you imagine again? I won't go into the entire thing. Could you imagine again if this wasn't leaked? Imagine the numbers that would break if this wasn't leaked.
And overall, that entire month was just packed with content. We went from Season 5 to Season X in just 4 weeks, with constant updates, constant new items, constant map changes.
Yeah, and they did a fantastic job at recapping everything that was great about Fortnite OG and encompassing it into one season. I absolutely loved it.
A lot of our old friends came back to play Fortnite again. Honestly, this season should have lasted 2 months instead of chapter 1 season 1, and I think most people wouldn't have complained if that was the case.
Yeah, no, nobody would have complained, and now we have it permanently, and the novelty is going to start to wear off a little bit more and more as time goes on.
People were actually sad when this season ended with the black hole, but they were very happy when the next season ended with a black hole, because the hated season number 4 is chapter 1 season X.
One of my favorite season, if not my favorite season of all time. I've spoken about it at great lengths on this channel, guys. I'm not going to dive into every single little thing that I loved about the season, but this was a perfect Fortnite season.
This was a very controversial season. It was the first season where a lot of people actually were upset with Fortnite, and there was the trend and hashtags going on for Fortnite to fix the game. Fortnite added mechs, and mechs were a way for players to get easy and free wins.
At the very beginning, when they nerfed them, they were no problem, and everybody just sat and cried instead of actually trying to fight against those mechs.
They were very powerful. They did a lot of damage, and they killed people in an instant.
I loved that, though. I loved running from those things. Imagine a Season X where mechs weren't in competitive. Keep them out of arena. In pubs, have the chaos of the mechs. And I will agree with you about the first nerf, but I loved that rush of endorphins when you got where you had to like, oh my god, a mech's coming. You hear it shooting. You hear it stepping. You need to hide from it. Or you need to get your entire squad to fight against the mech. It was such a fun time for me personally, man.
They also went a little crazy with some of the POIs. They had the Taco Tuesday at Greasy Grove.
I love Taco Time. It was hilarious.
Where you just started dancing, you know, every like minute. They had zombies at Retail Row.
Also great. And when the season first started and end games can actually go into that, it made for a very, very unique gameplay experience every single time that you played.
Had the prop mechanic at Moisty.
Hilarious.
So the whole map was unstable. They had a bunch of crazy overpowered things like the mechs and crazy overpowered items. Every POI was just kind of like had a weird quirk to it. And
you made a great quirk to it. An amazing quirk to it.
People were not happy. So when the black hole eventually consumed the season, people were very, very happy to kind of reset and start from scratch.
Dude, when Season X was in the game, I played this game every single day. I was on a 1 to 11 shift at work, and every single time that I came home, every single night, I was playing. If you guys follow the channel, if you guys happen to be watching this video, Josh, Brandon, Garrett, we played every night. Every night. It was, I miss this season, and you guys don't know how much I am hoping that they bring it back in its former glory, man. I am hoping that to the bottom of my heart.
And this is more of a personal thing, but I'm not a big fan of the battle pass for this season because it is just like remixed battle passes from previous chapter 1 seasons.
Now, something that people actually did love about this season was the battle pass. A lot of people really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was one of the best battle passes myself as well.
And I'd rather just like they have made fresh or newer items, and I don't really see people rocking this stuff. But that's just my opinion. But now we got to talk about Loved Season number 5, Chapter 2, Season 4, our first full Marvel season.
It's funny how great this season was, because remember when it first launched and everybody was like, oh my god, this is the end of Fortnite. They officially sold out. I'm playing Ad Night, not Fortnite. And then it ended up actually being one of the best seasons of all time.
A bunch of awesome Marvel mythics, a full Marvel battle pass. They brought back the pump shotgun. The Stark rifles were great. This was a great time in gaming. And even in the competitive scene, people were having a good time with the trio FNCS. We had a lot of...
Yeah, and the flow of the gameplay for this, when you're talking about strictly Battle Royale gameplay, this was one of the most fun seasons of all time.
Iconic clips from Mongrel, Benji Fishy, Mr. Savage, and to top it off, we were building up hype for the Galactus live event.
Yeah, the storyline was great, the mythics were great, the battle pass was great, the updates were great, the mid-season update was phenomenal. I can go on and on about this season. One of the best seasons of all time.
Even though the event was a little bit underwhelming in terms of like how quickly we were able to take down Galactus, 16 million people attended that event, making it the most attended event in Fortnite history.
I actually didn't know that. Yeah, but this is what happens when you have the proper build-up at the games. When you have a build-up and a storyline that actually has a payoff, this is what you get.
Making it one of the most beloved seasons ever and one of the best seasons of Chapter 2. But not all Chapter 2 seasons were loved, because we need to talk about season number 5, Chapter 2, Season 1. This was right after Season X. We had a brand new map, but Epic took it a step back. A little...
I've said this on the channel before, and I'm going to say it again, guys. Chapter 2, Season 1 was exactly what the community was asking for. With the chaos of Season 9, and especially Season X, everybody was crying over and over again every day. YouTube videos, social media being flooded about how Epic Games got away from just the bare bones of Fortnite. What happened to the simple battle royale? Epic Games is better when Fortnite is simple. They gave that to you. They listened to you. They listened to the entirety of the community and went as bare bones as they could with a brand new map, bland POIs, and just ARs, snipers, and rocket launchers. That's exactly what everybody asked for. And everybody hated it. Epic Games should never listen to this community ever. Not in a million years.
A little bit too far back. They removed almost everything. We went back to our basics, just the pump shotgun, the AR, some minis, some big pots, and some grenades.
So the Epic Games gave everybody exactly what they asked for, and everybody hated it.
The issue was we were okay going back if there was going to be some updates. But this season took 4 months long, and the only update we got was the harpoon being added to the game.
But one of the greatest additions ever, the harpoon gun, I still miss it to this day, man.
And a Star Wars collab, which was more of an advertisement. It was just way too bare bones, and people lost interest very quickly.
Shocker. Who would have thought?
That mixed with some delays, and a lot of people that I personally knew stopped playing during this season and moved on to other games.
Same here, man. Same here. I had a lot of people that stopped playing Fortnite and actually never came back after Chapter 2 Season 1, which was crazy because I actually enjoyed that season too.
Now let's talk about loved season number 6, Chapter 1 Season 5. This was an iconic season. This is the season we went back to in Fortnite OG. We added the new desert biome with Paradise Palms, which is a fantastic POI. They even added it to the new reload map.
Yeah, I would say that this is the best of the OG seasons, and I would say OG is about up until Season 5. I thought this was better than Season 4 and Season 3, although they were pretty close.
Easy links and ATKs were introduced. Kevin the Cube spawned on the map in the middle of a tournament, and we started getting a lot more of the Fortnite lore.
Yeah, and back when we didn't have leaks and we didn't know Kevin's path, and we were all speculating on where it could go and what can happen when it actually ends up into the lake, and we didn't know that bouncing link was actually possible, but nowadays we can never have such a thing.
A lot of the items and guns that we love today got introduced during this season, like shockwaves, grapplers, and the heavy sniper. They also added toys, which was a fun new mechanic to the battle pass.
I don't know why Epic Games doesn't add toys to the game anymore, man. Like, I still use every single preset I have. I have a water balloon, a basketball, or a tomato to throw at people. I loved it.
And we had our first comp events with the Summer Skirmish, where a lot of your top streamers and creators competed for the first time. Overall, it was a fantastic Chapter 1 season. But now it's time for hated season number 6, Chapter 3, Season 3.
Yeah, this one I agree with. There was nothing about this season that screamed out to me and was like, oh my god, this is fantastic. Actually, I did love Shuffled Shrines. That was great, but that's about it.
Vibin'. So this was a vibin' season. I don't remember much from it besides the little plants that you put down. You can get loot from them, and they would save from match to match. The POIs, like the reality tree, were pretty to look at, but not that fun to fight at.
That's an accurate description. I completely agree with that. It was beautiful. Amazing to walk around, but nothing about the gameplay was like, yay.
They vaulted the MK7, which people actually really like the MK7. We also had the 2-shot shotgun, which was just a really bad shotgun. And
arguably the worst shotgun in Fortnite history.
Had the Charge SMG, which was just one of the worst SMGs or guns, period.
Underrated. I will say the Charge SMG is underrated. It shreds through builds, it shreds through people, it shreds through shields.
That they've ever added. The only redeeming factor this season was that we finally got the Dragon Ball Z collab, which was one of the biggest collabs in the game.
Yeah, you know what? I forget about the Dragon Ball collaboration every single time that we talk about Vibin', because that was actually really fun. I really enjoyed that update, but unfortunately, like, this small update of Dragon Ball didn't save the entire season for me.
We had Darth Vader in the battle pass, and if you're a Star Wars fan, that's a big deal. Other than that, it was a pretty mid-season. But now let's talk about loved season number 7.
I know it's coming.
2,
Yep.
Season 2. We finally got the mythic weapons. We have the mythic bosses. They added a bunch of new POIs.
Guys, what can we say? This was a near perfect season. From the storyline, from the battle pass, from Epic Games caring, from the updates, from the vehicles, from the weapons. Everything about this was perfect. The map updates, all of it.
The agency, the shark, the grotto, the yacht. It was a really good time. We had a very good collaboration with Deadpool.
Yep.
And the live event with Midas at the end of the season was amazing.
We had 2 live events. The Travis Scott one as well.
To see Jonesy in his office. We got the huge tsunami storm for the last few days of the season.
I missed that so much, dude. You guys have no idea how much I missed that. We only got to play with it for a little bit, and it was supposed to be for longer, I guess. I don't remember.
We're going on to Chapter 2, Season 3. And we had an iconic battle pass with characters that people still love to this day. It was so good that Epic decided to give us a Chapter 2 remix season, and the numbers did perform well, even though...
How did they miss the mark, man? I know a lot of people enjoyed the season, but for me personally, like, and I know I'm not alone in this opinion, I don't understand how you could possibly miss the mark on bringing Chapter 2 Season 2 back.
Though it wasn't as hype as the Chapter 1 OG season, it still had over 4 million average players.
Crazy.
But now for the final hated season on this list, hated season number 7, Chapter 2, Season 6.
This is the one that I was waiting for, guys. I am a Primal enjoyer. I loved the bows. I loved the battle pass. I loved the storyline. The map was lacking besides the Spire. The Spire was one of the greatest POIs in Fortnite history to me. I loved that it was just literally a spire going as high as you could possibly go. I loved the unique features that the bows had. There were points where it suffered, though, like the makeshift weapons, the emphasis on crafting. I didn't like any of that, but this was just a good season, in my opinion. It wasn't great. It was just good.
Primal. Now, the thing is, some people swear they love this season, and that's fine. But for me, the new POIs absolutely sucked.
Yeah, I agree with that, except for the Spire.
They weren't made for building, and back then there was no zero build. The whole map was like orange. The makeshift weapons were extremely bad, and the primal weapons were either really bad or really overpowered, like the primal shotgun.
Except the Primal AR was good. I thought the Primal AR was good. It was balanced and is very underrated.
These new mythic boots that you had to do a whole side story mission to get.
Yeah.
And once you got them, they were very useless. You had to jump like 3 times just to redeploy.
Yeah, there was a lot of really unnecessary things that was added in Primal, and that's where it suffered.
I personally wasn't a fan of the bows. Some people liked them, but to me, they were just very finicky. And I remember a lot of people were complaining about this season on socials. So if people want to rewrite history about some of these seasons, that's fine. I remember I was there.
And that's what I say about Chapter 1 Season 7, man. That's exactly what I say about it. I mean, yeah, I guess people do talk about Primal nowadays. People talk about Season X too, but the biggest one was Chapter 1 Season 7. Everybody talking about what a great season it was, how nostalgic it was, how the vibes were so great. No, everybody was whining, moaning, and crying about that season. Crazy. If you want to hear my take on every single Fortnite season, we did make a tier list video ranking every single Fortnite season. You can check that out right here, guys. I would love to have you over there. Thank you very much for being here and watching. Take care, everybody.